What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Instead of today's video, we've got some game breaking news which I've just never really seen before. I've been asking for a very long time, literally for years and years, about Brawler hitboxes. This might be just like a question that people are just like, oh, it's only hitboxes, but there is a common misconception in Brawl Stars and we'll dive into it. So big shout out to Joe Fruip. I'll leave a link to the Reddit post in the description because this wouldn't have been available without him. So he's ripped all of the hitbox sizes of every Brawler, pulled directly from the game files. Again, this was just never really, like, I never seen it on any like Brawl Wikipedia, just anything. It was always just this kind of gray area, and I always got things wrong to do with hitboxes. So let's take a quick look at it right here. So you can see by the comparison, we'll move the graph over here just so you guys can get a quick idea of what the hitboxes kind of look like. So you can see here the size comparison. So a normal hitbox is of course that red circle, which is 120 in numbers, and large is 145. So straight away, I think the difference is like around 19% larger, which isn't like crazy, but at the same time that still is a big difference in my opinion, just because I'd say in Brawl Stars terms, like the difference you notice in like damage buffs, etc., is like 6 or 7%. So to have like a nearly 20% difference in hitbox. So basically, if you don't know what hitbox is, it's just the area your Brawler covers on the map, right? So the bigger the hitbox, the easier it is to get hit. So for example, if you're Frank, you're going to have a bigger hitbox, so you're going to get hit more easier. If you're Crow, or if you're a regular shape Brawler like BB, etc., you're going to have a normal or just a small one in comparison to the larger Brawlers. So we could take a look at the data as well on the side. Again, a big shout out to him because he spent so long obviously getting all this data. We scroll over right here, so you can see I can't actually like change the graph right here, but I do have some graphics we'll go into pretty soon. So you can see all of this data right here. We have 8-bit, we have Ash, we have Bull, we have Chuck, Darryl, Doug, El Primo, Fang, Frank, Hank, Jackie, Meg's Mech, and of course normal Mech is a smaller hitbox, which again I kind of knew, but just interesting how two brawlers can have two different hitboxes. Pam, Pearl, Rosa, Artie, and of course the legs, Sam and Sandy. So big shout out to him. But let's take a look at some graphics. Further on my point about hitboxes, I think it's pretty hard to actually like run some tests on this. Personally, I just struggle to really dive in and do the research like that. But of course, with my years of playing, I have noticed that of course there are smaller hitboxes. We all knew that, but I just still had the impression that Crow did have a smaller hitbox. Again, just because his character model, it did look a bit smaller, and as well probably because he's got a faster movement speed. Of course, it's going to be harder to hit him. He's got a normal hitbox and fast movement speed. Of course, that's pretty dangerous. So you can see on the screen though, I already ran through some of the tests I did. It wasn't really too conclusive. I noticed a bit of a difference, but as you can see by the graphic, all you need to know is that there's 15 Brawlers that have a larger hitbox than the rest of them. Of course, this is going to be definitely a little bit tougher for them. Some of these Brawlers you can clearly see as well have just not been near the meta really. You know, Brawlers like Bull, Ash, they all struggle in the meta. You've got Chuck as well. I didn't even know he had a larger hitbox. Hank, Jackie, Pam, Sam, Primo, most of these Brawlers just get taken down too easily. And then you take a look at the ones that I found surprising. You can see on the screen that Chuck and Sandy have a larger hitbox. I was very surprised by this, especially Sandy. I can't actually believe ever that Sandy's easier to hit than most Brawlers in the game. Kind of crazy. And then those 5 Brawlers in particular, I was very surprised about. Draco, Buzz, I don't even know, like Buster, Bonnie, and BB. How do all of these Brawlers have a normal hitbox? Especially some of the tankier Brawlers like Buster, for example. How does he have a normal one? Bonnie's hitbox looks ginormous. How is it normal? Buzz as well. He's basically a tank. Drake, all of these Brawlers are 10k HP, close to 10k HP, around that figure, and they have a normal hitbox. I was just really confused. So now we take a look at Mo here. So this is a common misconception again, is that Mo has a smaller hitbox. So again, it might seem like he does just because of his smaller character model, but he actually doesn't. Again, around the test, it was very similar to Crow and other normal characters, so that might be why I don't know, people probably just assumed he was because look how small he is. And again, in driller form it is normal as well, even though this looks so much bigger. I would like for it to be a bit clearer. I mean, not really on like the Brawler profile, but at least somewhere about these hitboxes, because I feel like Brawl Stars could be doing us dirty with this. So now moving on to 8 more general tips. So the first one's going to do with Rico's gadget. So what good Rico players do, especially when they're facing off against a Brawler that jumps or dashes onto them, is that they'll just sit on the spot completely still. So especially against Mikos, Edgars, etc. The reason why you want to do this is because you want them to actually directly jump on top of you and you can just pop your gadget. I know it's annoying facing off against this gadget, but you need to know this trick because you can deal 14k damage nearly with one piece of gadget, and the first wave of balls that throw out with this gadget deals 7,000 damage. So you can just literally instantly kill those Mikos and Edgars just by standing still. Let them jump on you. The next tip is to do with Darryl. So if you guys were Darryl mains in the past, you would always know that with one Darryl super, you can always get 2 knockbacks, sometimes even in the open. So this is just a tip that I use a lot of times, especially since the rework now, is you can just change so many knockbacks. Like in total, basically with 2 supers you can get 4 knockbacks. So the way that you do this, you got to make sure that an opponent is kind of close to the wall. Of course, you got to hit them, then hit the wall, and then hit them back. This might not seem like big brain knowledge or anything, but it's just a small thing that, especially as one of a few Darryl mains out there, I think has really helped me in 1v1 interactions. The next tip is to do with Stu's hypercharge super. So if you guys were around during the mutations, you would already know this trick because there was a lot of exploits where you could just go into the showdown gas and just stay infinitely alive with this. So you need the gas to heal star power, and you just need the hypercharge super and any wall. Of course, you can do this with water tiles as well. There's a lot of ways you can work around this, but essentially what you do is you just spam your super, auto aim it as quickly as possible, and just dash into a wall. You can go from one shot to near death to all the way to full HP in a matter of seconds. This can be clutch in so many situations. People don't realize it. You don't even need that good of ping. You just need a wall and just abuse it as quickly as possible, and you can just go up to full HP. The next tip is a quick tip I like to use a lot of the time on Fang. It's not always like the biggest brain one, especially if playing against low skill players. They probably won't even realize you do this anyways. But sometimes what I like doing with Fang is that I pretend just to go with a normal attack, and then I'll quickly throw out my super straight away. The reason being is because you can cancel that main attack. So it means that your super's more likely to hit them, more likely to get them by surprise, because people take more of a bigger step back if you throw out your super straight away, right? But if they just see a normal attack come in, they probably don't care so much, because Fang's main attack doesn't do a ton of damage, but the super, the stun, it just basically means you're dead. So just having that combo, fake the main attack, quickly throw out your super, and they won't see it coming. The next tip is some Sprout tech, and I've always loved using this ever since the gadget came out years ago. Sprout is one of my main brawlers, and I just love doing this. So essentially what you need to do on Sprout is you need the transplant gadget, you need the supercharged gear as well, so you get Sprout walls within 4 shots, which is essential with Sprout, and all you need to do is already have a super available, and that super will last for 10 seconds. So by them 10 seconds, this is the hardest part, right? You need to hit another 4 shots to get another super, and then by that time you need to then throw out your super, and when that super is in the air, so normally you want to kind of throw it a long distance so you have more time to then press your gadget. So you throw the super gadget as that super is just about to land, and then you have another super available. So then you've basically got 2 supers for the price of one at the same time. They're both going to be on the ground for roughly 10 seconds. The reason why this is so good is because you can essentially block people into a corner. So you can throw one above, throw one to the right, for example, and they're going to be stuck in that right top corner. I love to do this. It makes killing so easy. The next tip is for all you Fang mains out there. Most of you should probably know this already, but here we go. I'm just going to show you guys how to do it. So with Fang, all you need to do, make sure you have your super first, and you can get your super back instantly through this tech. So what you want to do is throw out a Fang shoe just before you throw out your super. You want to make sure though that you don't actually just hit the shoe and then super afterwards. You want to make sure that you time it correctly so the shoe hasn't hit before you super, and then after you do this combination, you of course hit somebody, so that's already 2 hits to your next super, and then when you land, straight away fire a shot. So you'll be literally on top of them, fire a shot, gadget straight away, and then fire a shot straight away, because when you press gadget, it's instant and it actually allows you to shoot another shot straight away. So if you do this combination, shoot a shoe, super, shoot again, gadget and shoot again directly after. That's 4 hits, you're straight back to another super, and you could just delete people easily with this combination. So moving on to the next tip is to do with a lot of snipers, but some other brawlers in general, so brawlers like Surge as well, they're going to do it the best. So with this tip, essentially you want to shoot out a shot just before you super. So I like to do this with Byron, for example, Surge, as I said. Piper is a good one as well. So what you want to do with Gus, you quickly shoot and then pop your super straight away. The reason why you want to do this is because you're already then 3 shots away from your next super, and that just allows you to cycle a lot more effectively, especially when you already know you can hit that shot. So for example, if there's like a buzz or a ball close by to you, make sure you quickly do this combination, and then you'll be able to cycle through to your next super. This is just really good tip to know in general, because of course you want to be cycling as many supers as possible, because that just enhances your chances of winning. The next tip is to do with Kit and bridge to far, and no, it's not, I mean, no, it's nothing against Juan Carlos. I've actually come to back him up here because people didn't realize what he tried to do. So just before World Finals, a lot of people discovered that Kit could actually stun lock anybody that was on top of water without Kit needing to be on top of them. So Kit could stun them and then detach. They would still be stunned, and Kit could then kill them from the side of the water. This was a really big interaction and completely hard countered brawlers like Eve, brawlers like Angela. Of course, there's 2 new water brawlers as well now with RT that can float over water, and Shade as well. So this is just a really good tip to know, because again, Kit might actually be a bit better than people give him credit for. Of course, you can counter this by jump gadgets, but if you do this quickly enough, you can stun them and get an easy kill. The next tip is to do with Kenji. I don't know if everyone realized this, but with Kenji's super, you can actually move the point where you started the super and where you finished the super, if that makes sense. So with Kenji, I think what's supposed to happen is wherever you super from, you're supposed to stay there, but it's actually a glitch. As long as you're moving as you super, you actually return to a spot which is wherever the direction you was moving, right? So if you want to go further back and run away, you can start moving backwards and then super, but a lot of the time you want to actually move your joystick towards the opponent, super forward, and then by the time you land, you're even closer than they anticipated, so then you can cycle your super more effectively, and it just makes it harder for the opponents to read where you're at, because one of Kenji's biggest weakness is probably once he lands from his super, right? So say for example, if Darryl is ready to roll on you once you use your super, at least if you move forward, you're a lot like less predictable. I think it is a bug, but it definitely is a tip. And the last tip is just a general knowledge tip as well, but I just think a lot of people really sleep on these 2 particular brawlers. So there's brawlers like Sandy and Buster that can actually wall peek a lot more effectively than so many brawlers in the game. So these 2 brawlers have forever just been meta, probably because of this mechanic. They can easily just sit behind walls, chip away to their super, and especially Sandy. That's just why Sandy is such an annoying brawler, because it feels like they're always getting just such good damage on the map and cycling through every single super. Again, with Buster as well, this is just essential, because what you want to be doing, even though they don't do a lot of damage around those walls, it's still just chipping the opponents, making sure they're not regenning, and just being really annoying overall. Of course, there's a few other brawlers as well that are really good at this. You know, for example, Mo. Everybody knows that by now, but he's just really good at wall peeking. There's just certain brawlers that are better down the lane at wall peeking. Once you just get to understand this, I think you'll just have a lot easier chance of winning your lane in ranks, for example. So that's it for today's video. Just some quick general knowledge tips that you guys probably might know already, but especially the big one being the hitboxes. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.